How are you doing these days after getting a recommendation and waiting for the merit list? How was your feeling? Have you prepared and have you approached to this SSB? How did you prepare for AFCAT exams like CDSE exams? And how did you find your mistakes? And how you got rectified those things? How you overcame those? To know how Garu Defense just helped you by having few mock interviews with us. uh, get screened easily. Yeah, TAT, VAT, SRT, STT will be there. So thematic upper subset test, word association test, situation reaction test, and self-description test. So how to approach individual easily? Yeah, sir, SRT is way long, sir. So they're asking about 60 questions. It's very difficult to cover all those 60. And how to cover all those 60? To the person who are asking how to cover SRT in a given time. Yes. And what should be focused while performing this GTO task? How you are prepared for interview task? What sort of questions did your officers put on you in the conference room? Small plan or a few tips to figure out our mistakes. Questions of SSB because many aspirants are waiting outside that they just want to know your feel and how you passed through this SSB. Because
Sure.
without knowing those things, they are just in a mode of feeling. How can we clear this? How can we clear this? Only out of 500 people, those who are going and attempting this SSB, only 5 or 6 are getting recommended. So, how they can make their chances higher? So, shall we
Sure.
go with the SSB
Yeah,
questions?
sure. Before moving, I
Let
would
me go
like
with
to just
the SSB questions. Screening plays a vital role because for the next 4 days, which are being into the SSB center, the basic thing which proves you is your day one screening, right? How to get screened easily. Yeah.
well, screening is in two parts, independent parts, and consider it that way itself. That these both of the parts are independent and both have their own importance. When you go for an OAR, do attempt it seriously and do also practice for it religiously. I would not say to practice every day, but make sure that you are scoring above at least 80, or because I prefer it keeping above 95. That's the standard I maintain. I want all my friends also to do the same. So, because your first impression is the last
That's
impression,
just
and you do not get the second chance to make that first impression. All right. Followed by your PPDP. Again, it's your perception of the story. So whatever you see, make sure you are making the story in that itself. Do not think too much over that. And also, I would like to say that narration part is something that is very tough, because you have to narrate your story all of a sudden in front of many people, in front of SSS, and then you are about to do the GD. And this is something that will decide your screening and your next 5 days.
yeah.
So a lot of pressure is there, but think it the other way. You think that this is something that you had written, this is something that you had perceived, and these all are your friends, and you just have to uh, tell a story and what you have perceived from that. Limit yourself to what is the task and do not think of the consequences, the results.
Mm.
Because if you do that, think of the results, you will definitely decrease your performance. So in order to keep your performance focus on the task which is your hand. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're right. So
Ah,
don't think about your future. Just give your process.
ah,
Give your best.
yes, focus on what you are doing. That is the best thing you can do. Be after that, as soon as the narration gets over, be very attentive. Try to initiate, at least be in the first three speakers. And what I have observed is being active in the GD is quintessential. Discussing on every point. Okay. I won't ask you to be every second speaker. That once you have spoken, someone else again you have to come back. Give your friends also the chance. And as I mentioned, this is something you are being a member, and as you mentioned that being a leader is also important. So also need to see that which of your friends are not able to give points and take their points also. This will not only make sure that you are helping others, but also see that many more points are coming and your story, your task is done effectively.
Yes. Cool. That was a good approach given by you, and this will be utilized by many aspirants who are seeing this video. Definitely, it will help millions of people present over here.
I hope so.
Fine. Right. So we just after getting screened in, there will be a first test called psychology test, in which TAT, VAT, SRT, STT will be there. So thematic perception test, word association test, situation reaction test, and self description test. So how to approach individually?
Individually, I'll be starting with TAT. Firstly, before you go for psychology test, go with a very happy mind so that you attempt the test also in that manner. Coming to TAT, I would divide it in two parts, which is at the SSB, and the first is before the SSB. Before the SSB, what I would do, I used to see the picture and I used to make at least 3 to 4 themes of it, and thinking on various angles and various perception that I can have from that theme. Ek do first two themes would be like what I can see, and after that I used to think since I'm an engineer, so what would an engineer do in that situation? Suppose if there is a playground and two chaps are playing there, so it could be a picnic, it could be a reunion of friends, something like that. What would an engineer do there? For the third team, what would an engineer do there? Maybe they would have gone for testing something, a drone specifically. So by thinking in these way, before during my practicing sessions, what I used to do, I used to create my experiences, and this is something that is helpful. Now I would come back to during the SSB. During the SSB, I think we must follow the instruction, which is to give our first responses. And first responses come only through what things we have experienced. And since we have practiced those stories, so those count in our experiences, and those can also count in our.
Exactly.
You got it.
And
so
here
this is something
for TAT,
which was my approach.
Yes. Here for TAT, many people used to think like a superheroes. Doesn't
Yes,
record of
do not think
superheroes.
like that.
Just be a nominal man. They just expect a normal person in you. Okay. So, but many people doesn't think about it. They just put like superheroes in their stories, and they'll be like superhero. They'll just come out of the conference, right? Yes. Okay. Proceed.
All right. So that is very important fact mentioned by you. That's something that is very achievable has to be mentioned. Like if someone is doing something like constructing an entire bridge, which costs thousands of crores, is something quite unachievable in day-to-day walk of life. So, and I would never do that because I do not have any background of that. So I never made a story on that. So stick to yourself and what you are seeing in the picture. During the SSB, I would say whatever the picture was given to me, whatever I wrote a simple story over that, whatever used to come to me, and whatever I had practiced, that was definitely helpful for me. Coming to VAT and SRT, I would cover both of them simultaneously. My simple funda is to be crisp as possible, and in SRT as crisp and delineated, as detailed as possible. My entire explanation would be detailed, but my words will be very crisp. Never I had seen that my sentences exceed 1.5 sentence, and my words exceeding 5 or 6 words during VAT. So this was something that had only come through practice. VAT and SRT, anyone can go and attempt easily, and everyone will be correct. All perceptions are right. But the thing is, whether you are able to complete and give appropriate good responses, that will only come when you have practiced them. Writing sentences of 4 to 5 length is not an easy task if you just go and think. But if you had practiced, it is a cup of tea. Something that would be very helpful for you. And after that, self-description. This is something which I found I had to be very honest of, because the psychologists will get to know what kind of a person I am because I had been given my honest responses. So I also need to prove that I know myself. What I did was, firstly, I wrote my strengths and weaknesses all whatever were there. I thought again and again. And then after that, what activities I used to do in my daily life, my routine. And then I started formulating my SD. I had also mentioned that I had taken feedbacks from my friends and teachers. That also came inside. So after a lot of effort, I had written my SD, and that SD was something which was always there in my. I didn't rote learn it, but since I had practiced it over and over again, I thought of it so much, so I was go there and simply able to write it.
Okay, fine, good. And regarding few aspirants used to ask me that, sir, SRT is way long, sir. So they're asking
Mhm.
about 60 questions. It's very difficult to cover all those 60. And
Mhm.
how to cover all those 60? To the person who are asking how to cover SRT in a given time. Yes.
I would say as covering all 60 of the SRTs is something which is very difficult if you are going with that approach that you have to cover all the points, because 60 minutes is very long and you have to read also the sentences. What I would say is be very fast even from the time when the test begins. So have the same pace throughout, so your handwriting will also be same. So
Mhm.
psychologists will also get to know, okay, he is maintaining the pace, because handwriting pattern
Yes,
changes.
that plays a vital role. They used to see even those handwritings, right? Is
Yes,
whether if your
this
handwriting
is
is
easily
not
observable.
proper, yeah. If your handwriting is not perfect, it's okay. You go with the same tone. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that shows that you tend to gather things at the last, and at the starting you are at ease. So if you have pace at the right time, from the starting itself, you will able to cover many. I was able to do 50 and 55 SRTs, the first and the second one, in which I got recommended. In my previous attempts, also I was able to complete all 60 of those. So since this time I had approach that I had to write detailed answers, so 50 and 55 were achieved. Though
Mhm.
I find that I was quite satisfied with what I
Okay.
had done.
Yeah. Let us go to GTO task. Okay.
Mhm.
So in GTO task are full of group task. Yes. And what should be focused while performing this GTO task? Yeah.
Firstly, the thing which I kept in my mind was my individual performance ends with IO and psychology test. And now this is the time for me to focus along with my group. And second thing, this is the most fun task that I'll be involved in. These were the only two things which were there in my mind. During performing GDs, what I used to do, I used to discuss again the same funda. I used to keep my point very authoritatively. Then I used to listen to 4 or 5 people. Then again, I used to come forward. I used to keep on noting which of my friends are not able to speak. I used to help them. Same thing followed in GD also. Both of the times I was selected to be the speaker, and this was something that I didn't do. My group selected me. That I think chess number 2, chess number 13, respectively, will be the better person to do that. Again, also in GTO task during group planning exercise, have group task, command task, and final group task. I found that since I had a lot of experience and my observation is always good, plus I had an engineering background, so this was a very fun task for me, playing with all those things,
Yes.
Pattavalli Rassi,
Yeah.
placing them, moving forward. However, I would say, but my focus was not only on these fun things. My focus was whether I'm able to give ideas or not. Second, whether since I am technically sound person and I can see the structures with my eyes, and also engineer, so I had to also ensure the safety of my men or and my friends who are there. So whether all the planks are kept carefully, the rope is tied, and whether while my friends are moving, whether they are moving straight, if they move in an inclined manner, they would fall.
Yes, ensuring
So these things
safety.
were
Yeah.
always there in my mind. If the structure was too high or too loose to go ahead, I used to volunteer that
Mhm.
since I'm the lighter person and I'm very agile, fit, please give me the chance to go forward. No problem, I'll fall. I'll be in one piece. If you're a heavy person, you will fall. Maybe you'll break. I do not want that
That's
to
like
happen.
a taking responsibility. It's a OLQ, right?
And that was something I made it clear last night only, that I am
Ah,
not feared. If you feel that structure is unstable, just volunteer my name and I'll be happy to go ahead.
good,
And
nice.
that is something that also happened. The structures
Mm-hmm.
initially at Guwahati were very high, and my friends were looking at each other what to do. So I told them, so they looked at me, chest number 13. You are the light and agile person. Go ahead. And
Interesting.
after that, since I just took all those materials which are there with me with my friends, I crossed them. Second thing, responsibility is also very important of your group. So always keep on looking backwards whether any of your new friends, mostly they are there at the back most of the time, they do not leave anything behind.
Mm.
and none of them all are also left behind. Suppose two of your friends are cross the border, cross the line, start line, and you take all your materials ahead. Your two of your friends remain stranded there. So in case Gto is not mentioning them to walk sideways, then always ensure that all of them comes.
Yeah.
That is very important, and none of your stuff is left behind.
Yes.
What I used to do, I used to go and keep on looking backwards again and again.
Mm.
Anything is not left.
Mm.
Okay, and many other times this was something very helpful. In specifically Allahabad, I found that I was doing the task and I looked back and the last person was coming and he left behind the plank. Thankfully, I just had a look and I politely asked him to please pick the plank and come along. And had he moved forward and the Gto had taken the plank, then now your plank is gone. Do it without it, we would have been in big trouble.
Yes. Definitely, man. Okay, yeah, fine. Proceed.
And the other tasks are, I think, very fun. Snake race, it's
That's
always the
that's
most fun part.
always a fun part in our thing.
But
Yes. Oh,
that
may I know
also
what slogan did you use for snake race?
we use Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Okay, fine. So
Most
many
of the time
people.
we used to pick this only because this is something which we all have mostly heard of, and this is something which is very close to us.
Yeah.
And next thing I in these tasks was taking care of others. Even during the snake race, you will realize that many of your friends are very shy and are sometimes feared also. So
Yes.
making them, boosting them up, this is one thing you can do. Second thing, many of your friends are not that agile that they could jump up a wall or come. So always make sure that if you are at the top of the wall, pull them up. If you are at the bottom, push them up. This is something you must always do.
Helping them.
And
Yeah.
yes, and ensure their safety also. Especially the ones who are weak, slightly weak. After that, I found individual obstacles. It's mostly about the approach. What I did was attempt the obstacles very carefully so that I do not fall and break my body into pieces. And while in between the obstacle, I used to sprint to cover up the time which I had lost. So most of the time, I was able to do 9 obstacles, and thankfully, those 9 obstacles were done when the weather was not good. When I was at Guwahati, it had just rained, so it was completely slippery. And at Guwahati and at Allahabad, I even got hurt in my ankle slightly during the previous test, snake race. Anyway, I was very happy with it because this is something very joyous. And lecturate is something which I found I was very confident of because this is something I had been doing since years in my college. I used to go on the stages, every single stage responsibility which used to come, my name was always volunteered. If not by me, then my friends. If not by them, then my teachers. This was something that I was really privileged to. And command task is something I found. I asked all my friends very politely, and picking the right persons is also very important. Because when I went there, I found there were 2 planks. One was light and long, and the other was quite heavy. So I asked a friend to come who was quite tall and strong. And the other one also a light and tall person. Since I'm a middle height person, so I need 2 tall persons to bridge that gap and a strong person to handle that plank. So I utilized them. I gave the right person the right plank also. So this is something you can keep in mind. Very small details. Ensure their safety also.
Yes.
And be polite. I used to address them as friends. In the entire task, everywhere, I never had called them by gentlemen or subordinates or something like the previous speaker. It was only my friends and friends.
Yes, definitely. Okay, fine, good. And one more thing over here, people just want to know that during lecturate, okay, many of them used to tell, don't walk around, don't tie your hands, don't shake your hands. And how was your lecturate?
It was, as I told you, I am a, you can say, professional in this. I'm saying too much, but I had done this a lot of times, and that is why I was very confident with it, and it was something that I can do very easily.
Okay.
Because I had practiced a lot with my friends. My friends had given me all the feedbacks, and I was very confident. Plus, I used to pick the topic in which I was most comfortable, not the topic which would give me most the marks, because I wanted to give my best shot.
Yeah.
Because whichever topic I'll put, if I put an uncomfortable topic, and shed my knowledge over it, but I'm uncomfortable, I'm recalling most of the things, then it won't leave a good impression.
Your
I
body
used to
language, your body language.
and my body language used to be very, I would say, simple. I used to stand straight, chest out, stomach inside, and hands at the back. I do not shake, I do not shake my body. And the logic behind it, I felt, was my voice is more than enough to express me, and I do not need my hands to do the things. And this is something which I also observe, the officers while they speak. Most of the time, it's their voice that is more thunderous enough to make an impact. And since they are emphasizing on the important words, ups and downs, this was something my most focus was. And my body used to be very stable and a positive one.
Nice.
Many of my friends tell that I'm not prepared with the general themes like general awareness, lecturate themes. I would say, you, if even if you are not prepared, then also you do. But why to do that? You're going for a gazetted officer, national duty. So you only thing you can do is good thing. Minimum you can do is read newspapers daily, read
Just be
editorials,
aware, getting
yeah,
useless.
have your read them, have your own opinions, discuss them with friends. That would be sufficient. But this is something which I would like everyone you should do.
Okay, fine. Yes. Okay, Himanshu. And next question is, how you are prepared for interview?
What I did preparing for interview on my side was, since I had a lot of experience and I had also introspected a lot, I started writing down the answers first and thinking a lot of that. Written down in my notebook also, and then in my laptop also, because I used to use it a lot. Daily, I used to have a look that are these the things which I'm doing daily? Are these the same things which am I the same person which I'm telling? And then I started giving mock interviews. So just like we mentioned previously, this was something very helpful for me, these feedbacks. And my mentors also, who had guided me in the entire process, my elder brother, my father, my mother, everyone.
Good. I just want to know that in interview, every questions which was put by the interviewing officer was being made by you, because you give the key role to ask the questions by them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This
Tell
is
me about
something
it.
which this is something which can only happen when you know what you're going to speak.
Yes.
And that is where my written and my preparations and my mocks came in, because I was aware that what I'm going to speak and what will be the next question that will be followed. Rarely I had felt that I had spoken anything that used to give unexpected questions to me. If there were some, I used to correct myself. Once I did also, I simply said, sir, I stand corrected. By saying this, I meant this.
Okay, fine, good. Okay, talking about your conference. So, at the time of your recommendation, what sort of questions did your officers put on you in the conference room?
For my FCAT, I would say the questions were very few. The first question was, how did you prepare? I simply told them, how am I prepared? I told that, sir, I had introspected a lot, spent a lot of time with myself, knew myself, then with my friends, practiced a lot. There are a lot of groups active these days, and I'm very active on that. And apart from that, I also told that I took regular guidance from my brother, who is also a serving officer. And the others were following the regular questions of stay and all. During my Allahabad, since I was recommended once, so the first question was, Himanshu, consider I'm recommending you today. So what will be your choice of joining? So they knew that I'll answer army, and then the followed questions will be why army. I needed to justify this answer. That is why I took approach of saying ki, my primary approach and my need is not need. My desire is the uniform. This is something I had been striving for.
Okay.
And I'm lucky that I got two opportunities, though I'd go for the army. And as soon as I uttered this, he cross questioned me, "Acha, to unko kya bol ke aaye?" This is what exactly he said. What did you tell him? What did you tell the Air Force guys? The Air Force conference.
Yeah.
So I knew he'll ask me. So I immediately gave that. I told them the same thing, sir. I want the uniform. And that's my conference ended. They asked me to leave. I wished them and left.
Good. It was a nice question, man. Right? And also, it was a very beautiful answer given by you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay, you have been staying with your friends all those 4 days, right? So, how was your
Mhm.
room environment? Because that's
It
a
was
thing.
always very lively. I always enjoyed with my friends, even in my hostel days. Even at SSB also, whoever I met, I have always made sure that even after recommendation also, I made a group and I stayed in constant touch with them. I have shared practice with them. And even today also, I'm always wanted to share my experiences and help them if they need so.
Good, good,
Our
good,
bond
good.
is that good.
Nice. Okay, fine. So, any plan, small plan, or a few tip to figure out our mistakes?
Absolutely. Just like I said, I started to realize myself when I spent time with myself, the things which I had done wrong. And those give me the instances in which I was wrong and how could I covered those. Second thing is the people around you,
Hmm,
the feedbacks that they give, your friends,
hmm,
the people with whom you have performed, if you are in close touch with them, practice
hmm,
with them, ask them, how was my performance? What was difference?
hmm.
What was something you had observed? Even in your daily life also, make sure you practice these things. This is something that will always help you also and figure out what mistakes that you are committing.
Hmm, 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 hmm. Okay, fine, fine, fine. And finally, last two more questions. And one question, youngsters are waiting to watch these videos. And what's your lively comment for them to join the defense forces?
I would say ki, I would recommend highly to them to buckle yourself up and to take this seriously. This is not something that will happen in a day or two. It has to come in your daily life and make it sure you give your last effort. And maybe you are just have to cover the last mile and make yourself that good. But it won't happen overnight. You have to work a lot for that. Take your
Yes.
friends a lot, respect everyone who has been giving to you, adding to you, and I hope that would make you a good person
Hmm.
first and then a good officer also in future.
Okay.
Thank you.
And finally, when you're going to join Indian Military Academy, did you receive
I
call
am
letter?
yes, I am about to receive the call letter. The tentative date for the call letter is tomorrow itself, which
Ah,
happens to be 6th.
nice.
In the
Very nice.
Army website, you would have had a look at it, but
Yes.
the date of joining is 12th this month.
12th of this September, right?
Yes, this one itself. So it was a very short notice indeed for us TGC entry,
Yes.
nearly 8 odd days or so. But
Yes.
still, since I was expecting this, I was already prepared. So I'm extremely happy and
And
just looking
we
forward.
thank you so much, man, because in this, spite of your busy schedule, because you're left with only 8 days, you have to pack, you have to spend time with your family. But as a
Yes.
family, you also given us part of your free time before joining into defense services. So I'm glad that we are so much
Anything for
blessed.
you, buddy. Anything for you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
man. So we are so much blessed to have you a future officer, and we just want you to serve like a superhero to the nation. And
It's a pleasure.
our hearty congratulations to you to get into
It's a pleasure
Indian
and
Military
it's an
Academy.
honor.
Yes,
It's a
and
pleasure
we
and it's an
like to
honor.
get come for a POP, passing out parade of you, and will
Sure,
you honor
sure.
us?
I would surely invite you.
Definitely, man. Sure. And it was very great interview to have a buddy who is going next week to join Indian Military Academy, and he's giving a speech to us. So it's like
Thank you so much.
flying colors for us, and also to academy, and also to the various aspirants who are looking this video.
Thank you
Fine.
so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a lovely interacting with you, and it was as expected. Wonderful.
Thank you, buddy. And you're a friend of mine. So definitely, we wish you all the very best in your training, and you get the sword of honor. Okay,
Sure.
and we are just looking forward with the awesome work to the army.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes, thank you, Himanshu. So thank you so much for being here, and it was a very memorable day for us. Okay, a day which will not be forgotten in our life of history. And thank you so much. Right.
Thank you so
So,
much, buddy.
buddy, yes. So thank you. Bye. Jai Hind.